40 minutes or so, 45 minutes, and I'll be answering your questions as well. So again, my name is Dave Wise, and I'm with the Compass Options Trading Room. And what we're going to be talking about today is about 2 or 3 things. We're going to be talking about what's called the SPY Super System, which is a couple pieces of software that Rightline produces that I use to find my trades. And specifically, the SPY Super System is identifying the highest probability trade setups for people that like to trade futures or SPYs and Qs, things like that. And then we're going to also focus on the Compass Options text alert. I do have a trading room and a text alert service that gets sent out anytime we find a high probability trade setup. So that's what we're going to be discussing, and let's get right into it. Again, first I have to, of course, do my disclaimer, and all signals and trading opportunities we provide here are for educational and demonstration purposes only. Trading is very risky, so you should never trade with more money than you can afford to lose. And neither myself or Rightline Trading are licensed financial advisors, so we won't be giving financial advice. All right, so let's get to this. One of the things I want to put up here, if you have any questions or you have to leave early, if you go ahead and put your name and number or Skype username in the chat box, Rory will give you a call from Rightline and answer any questions you might have. He's not going to pester you with calls, but he will answer any questions that you might have. So you just put your name and number in there, your Skype number, and that will take care of it for you. All right, so this is the SPY Super System here. You can watch it on YouTube. I've done videos on this particular super system in the software and how we use it. So what we're going to talk about today when we get to the super system is we basically look to track institutional money flow. And my focus is on finding those highest probability trade setups that are available at any particular time during the day, both on the daily chart and the 5-minute chart. And we'll go into some detail on that. All right, and there's the bell. So anyway, the first thing we'll talk about is the Compass SMS text alert service. Again, you can take these trades anytime during the day. They come right to your cell phone. This is actually a picture of some of what the alerts look like on your cell phone. They basically just come through with, and I'll go over what's on there, but they're pretty easy to read and pretty clear cut, and they give you all the details that you need to put on the option trades that we take. So again, you can take trades on the go, of course. First thing I do want to talk about before we get into the actual service and the trades is just to go over the what drives the market. It's really important to understand that there's 2 really categories of traders. There's retail traders, such as myself and most everybody that's in here most likely. We're retail traders, and we're these little marbles here. And it's important to understand that retail traders on our own, we cannot move the market. We just cannot create trends or reverse trends. This is the big ball here. This is the institutions. And this is the institutions like HSBC Bank and Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and any of the mutual funds. The mutual funds have billions of dollars, which Vanguard, T. Rowe Price, and then you have all the 401ks that exist, and then the huge pension funds from the state pension funds and all the big workers pension funds. These people have billions and billions and billions of dollars, and when the institutions decide they want to move a stock up or they want to move a stock down, that's when it moves up and that's when it moves down. And our job as retail traders is to find out when that occurs. When are the institutions actually driving a trade, and when are they not driving a trade? We don't really want to be in there unless the institutions are moving it. So my job and what the software does for me, and what I'm looking for high probability trade setups is only to take trades when the institutions are in there either buying or selling that trade. If the institutions are not involved in the trade, I don't want to be involved in the trade because I know who's in there. It's the retail traders trying to pick bottoms, pick tops, move things around, and all you get is chop and chaos when that happens. So that's really important to understand that to find a successful trade, a high probability trade, it's important to understand that you have to know if the institutions are in the trade or not in the trade. So how do we do that? And that's what we do. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the strategies that we use both in the option room and the alert service. So any trades that you get, if you're on the alert service or you're in my trading room, this is the categories they're gonna come out of. They're gonna be either straight calls or puts, and they're gonna be option trades. Now if you don't want to trade options, you don't have to. If you get a pick, for example, we're taking Microsoft long, then you can just trade the stock. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but I leverage my trading, so I use options to do all my trades. So there'll be straight calls and puts. Most everybody's familiar with straight calls and puts. Then I use debit spreads, but I use debit spreads and I only use weekly options expiration on weekly debit spreads. I don't go out to debit spreads, 2, 3, 4 weeks out. I only use weekly options expirations because over many years of running these trades and basically analyzing my trading journal on these things, I found that if you do debit spreads and you use weekly options expirations and you actually have the stock move in your direction, this is where you get your best ROI. Because when you do a debit spread, you get 2 legs, of course. You're long one leg and short the other leg, and the short leg is going to deteriorate much faster because of time decay. It gives you a much bigger edge. And debit spreads on weekly options, many times, even if the stock doesn't move very much at all, you can actually make money on it, which you wouldn't do if it was further out. So that's another one of the strategies we use. A third one that we use, which will be coming up here pretty soon, is we do what's called time spreads. They're called calendar spreads, but I call them time spreads. And we do this over earnings. And I only do it, this is the only strategy I use over earnings. And it doesn't depend on the stock being bullish or being bearish. I don't have to guess the direction of where it's going to go on earnings. All I have to do is capture the volatility crush when the earnings come out. And what happens with earnings come out is the volatility on the option premiums gets drained out of them very quickly. And my job with the time spreads is to capture that decay or volatility crush as quickly as I can. So that's another strategy that you would see. And another one is called the weekly ATM strategy. This is a strategy that we use to actually sell premium every week on stocks that are neutral to bullish. So we basically sell in the money calls. In the money puts or at the money puts on a stock, and we keep a much later dated out in the future long put to protect that. Basically, we're going to be selling puts this week and next week, and then we're going to have a long put that's out like 4 to 6 to 8 weeks out in the future, and then we just keep selling puts against them each week and bring in premium. And then we have the SPY super system, and these are for very high probability trades that we talked about. And I'll show you some of those and how we use that by using the ability to identify when the institutions are in the trade and when the market internals are in our favor. So this is what you would see when you've got some trades coming through. I'm going to review some of the trades we've done later on in the presentation, but I just wanted to throw this up. This is the September 2023 trades. These are the trades that we've done this month so far. We did have one loser, this Affirm, but this is what we've done so far, and we've got 21 wins. Actually, we had one more win today, but so we're 21-1 or 22-1 right now on closed trades, and under really difficult trading conditions. If you're a trader, you know that the trading has been pretty tough, but you can see these are fairly predictive of what we get typically. We're going to get anywhere. Square was a small win here, but typically anywhere from 20 to 40, sometimes 50% of the trades. You're not going to get. I don't advertise or try to convince people that we're going to get 100, 200, 300, 400% wins because that's very, very rare. It happens very occasionally. But what we're looking for here is to basically hit singles and doubles and bring in nice 20, 30, 40% profits, trade after trade after trade, week after week. And going after the big ones was way too risky. We did have a nice trade in STX this month, 108% back on the 5th. That was a nice one. But basically, you can see they typically fall in the 10, 20, 30% range. So that just kind of shows you what's happened in September so far. And what I use is a baseline, and everybody has a different account size and how much money they want to put in. But I use just a baseline of if you invested $2,000 in each one of the trades that we did this month so far, you'd be up 88 happens to come out about $8,800, which is pretty nice for 200 in each trade, 2,000 in each trade. And that's what I use as a baseline. Some people can use less, some people use more, but it's just so we have something to compare months against. So that's the trade review for September, and those are pretty good results. And I think most people would agree that that's a pretty high percent win rate right there, about 92%, which pretty much falls in line with what we typically do. We've had worse months, but better months as well. All right, so the Compass Alert Service, what we call the Compass Options Alert Service, is designed for day trades and short-term swing trades. We're not doing any long-term investments. We're not doing any options that are 4, 5, 6 months out. These are day trades and short-term swing trades. It's designed for traders who can't watch the market all day. But I think a lot of people, they work. They'd like to be able to be involved in the market. They'd like to be able to bring in some additional income on a weekly and monthly basis, but they can't sit in front of the computer and watch the market all day. So this is designed for traders who can't watch the market, who would like to get real-time alerts of only the highest probability trade setups. And I'm going to go into how we find these. One of the things I'm going to do today that some people will be interested in, some people won't. A lot of people who want to get alerts, they just want to get the alerts. They don't really care where the trades are coming from. But I'm going to go into some detail on how I find these high probability trade setups. So you as an alert member or a room member, we can see where these trades are coming from. Where are we getting the criteria to find these high probability trade setups? Because believe me, it's not easy to get 85 or 90% win rate. It's difficult, and it's very important to only use the highest probability trade setups. And how do we do this? I'm going to get into a little bit more detail, but the highest probability trades we identify when the institutions are in the trade. And again, I'm going to go into how I find those. But when we find stocks that have institutional involvement in them, whether they're buying or selling, and we have market internals that are in our favor, and I'll go over what market internals are, and then we do some additional technical analysis on the trades that qualify here, and then we pick the best ones. All right, so that's how we send these alerts out. That's what they're coming from. So again, the trades are going to be alerted by SMS message, and one of the sayings we have in the room is we're going to trade the best, we're going to skip the rest. We're not interested in mediocre trades. We're only looking for the best trades. A lot of times, you might only find 1 or 2 a day. Some days there aren't any, but we don't, it's not something you're going to find 10 high probability trades in a day. Every alerted trade is going to include the stock symbol, and the option strike price, of course, the option expiration date, and the price to pay for the option. And there could be a range on that. It could say, $1 to $1.05, something like that. And then sometimes when the alert comes out, you'll get the exit price as well at the same time. But generally speaking, I'm going to send a separate alert out with the sale price on it, with the sell price on it. Because I like to watch the price action. It looks really strong. We'll say let's take it overnight or a couple of days and set the price at a higher profit target. So I have to decide on that as time goes by. But once you do get the strike price or the sell price for your trade, you're going to want to make it good till canceled, because we always want these trades operating or working when the market opens in the morning. All right, so how do we achieve such stunning results? And you saw those percentages, and 85 to 90% is fairly normal for us. But how do we achieve this? And we're able to identify when the institutions are driving a trade and when the market internals are heavily bullish or bearish. Now, these are two things, they're two different things. The institutions can be in a trade, but the market internals don't have to be bullish at the time. They could just be neutral. So it's when those two things line up, you've really got the very highest probability trade. Again, we only take trades when both of these are in our favor. Those are the very highest probability trades. I will say that we do take trades when the market internals are neutral. I don't have there's no bias necessarily in the market internals, but if I know an institution is in the trade buying it and it's got a very good technical setup, then we'll take that as long as the internals are not bearish. If we're going bullish, we just want them to be either neutral or bullish. So again, we trade the best and skip the rest, and this is important. So this is what the two systems that I use to do this. It's the compass system and the Dominator system, two different systems. The compass system identifies stocks that are being moved by institutional buying or selling. And we just talked about that. That's what we look for, but we've got to know that. It also identifies stocks that do not have institutional buying or selling moving them. So those can be avoided. This is very important. We don't want to be in trades if the institutions are not in there. Now the Dominator system is going to display market internals, and it produces buy or sell signals when the difference in the number of stocks moving up on up volume and upticks is much higher than the stocks moving down on down volume and down ticks, and vice versa. So we're going to get a buy signal if we've got like 800 stocks moving up on up volume and upticks, and 100 stocks moving down on down volume and down ticks. So this is this would be where we get the buy and sell signals from the Dominator system. So if we've got the compass system telling us the institutions in there buying, and we've got the Dominator system telling us not only that, but the market internals are also in our favor, the whole market is bullish, that gives you a very high probability trade setup when that happens. All right, so that's what the SPY Super System software is going to identify, and I'm going to show you the charts and how we find these things and why we find them like that. So again, this is what we're looking for: institutional money flow. Again, that's how do we know the institutions are in there? And again, the combination of market internals, Dominator system, and compass trading system has been the cornerstone, which it has. This is what makes this work, because when we know both of those things, we know immediately that we've got a really good high probability trade setup, and then we just have to find a good entry for it. And again, these things together provide a comprehensive view of the market. And again, allowing me to precisely identify when institutions are influencing trades and gauge the overall market sentiment. And that's the key to the whole thing right here. Again, so this ensures that we're trading strategically. We're not just picking stocks willy-nilly. We're only aligning with institutional activity, and basically we're riding the coattails of the institutions. Is what we're trying to do. And so again, you can read this, but we make well-informed decisions with high probability trading success, and I feel pretty proud of what we've been able to accomplish by doing this. And that's basically, you're going to see some charts. That's the compass system right there on a slide for on the Thinkorswim platform. All right, so just so you know, how do we identify institutional trading? This is important because it's one thing to say I want to be in the trade when the institutions are in there. How do I know that the institutions are in there? Well, the compass system, which is looking at institutional trading, is looking at what's called a triple screen assessment. And basically that's a fancy way of saying looking across multiple time frames. It's fractal. It's looking at 4 different things. It's looking at momentum, it's looking at trend, it's looking at money flow, and it's looking at quant. And the quant is stocks that typically move with the stock we're looking at 70% of the time or more. So if we're looking at Microsoft, the quant's going to tell us if the stocks that usually move with Microsoft 70% of the time or more are moving in the same direction. Now, it's looking at this momentum and the trend and the money flow. It's looking at all 4 of these criteria across 3 different time frames. So if I'm looking at momentum on a 5-minute time frame, and I'm looking at it on a 15-minute time frame, and I'm looking at it on a 45-minute time frame, and all of the momentum is moving up, and I'm looking at trend across the same 3 and the money flow across the same 3, the chance of this move not being driven by institutions is almost nil. I mean, it takes institutions in order to drive these things in the same direction over multiple time frames. And this compass system identifies this, and this is a pretty complex thing that it does to find this information, but I'll show you how easy it is to identify it for you as a trader. But this is how we're finding the institutions, because a lot of people want to know, how do you know about institutions? Some people like to look at volume, some people look at RSI, or they'll look at other things to see if an institution is in there. But volume and is not enough, and even price moves aren't enough. You've got to have this momentum that's going across multiple time frames. All right, so that's the compass system, and that's how we find whether institutions are in there or not. The market internals Dominator system that looks at market internals across 5 indexes. So it's looking at the Dow, the New York Stock Exchange, triple Qs, the NASDAQ, the SPY, S&P 500, and the Russell 2000. And it's looking at the number of stocks moving up on up volume and upticks versus the number of stocks moving down on down volume and downticks. And it's looking at this every few minutes. I mean, it's looking at them all the time. It's just analyzing this on a real-time, ongoing basis. This is a real-time analysis of those volume and ticks. And when it identifies that there's a large disparity, as I mentioned before, like 500 moving up versus 100 moving down, the software is going to create a signal. If there isn't a big disparity, it's not going to create a signal. It's just going to tell you that it's neutral. There'll be no signal. And when we use it in conjunction with the compass system, we identify even higher probability trade setups. So that basically covers what we're looking for here: institutions and market internals. And I want to run through some charts here. Now, this is going to show you what the information that we're looking for, the institutional involvement, how it's reflected on the chart. And that's how we trade. We trade off of this information. All right, so this is a trade that we took just a few days ago. This is on Hershey. This is a daily chart, and this is the compass system. This is the compass system on Thinkorswim. I have it loaded on Thinkorswim. It runs on Thinkorswim. It runs on Ninja. But typically, I like the Thinkorswim version of this. Now, I don't trade off of Thinkorswim. I trade off another platform, but I use Thinkorswim to get the compass software loaded. So if you don't trade on Thinkorswim, it doesn't matter. You can still get the compass system and have it loaded on Thinkorswim because you don't have to pay for the platform. What we're looking at here is Hershey on a daily basis. Now the indicators down here, I'm just going to go over these fairly briefly, but this one right here, this red line right here, this is the multi-time frame momentum. This is tell us what Hershey is doing over the 3 different time frames: the daily, the 3-day, and the 9-day. And it's telling us here when it's red. If it's red or yellow, that tells us we have institutional selling across those 3 time frames, as long as the current time frame is also lined up with that. And the colors would be red or yellow is short, and blue or green is long. All right, so that's what we would see there. I hope I didn't mess something up right here. But anyway, so this is the multi-time frame. This is the current time frame. This is what Hershey looked like on the daily chart. So when I look at this, we took this trade right here, and this is compass system that's got a couple of things on here. This has a shaded area that's called the dynamic compression zone. This is telling us that the stock is in compression on the daily chart, and it broke down out of this dynamic compression zone right here. It broke down right out of it here, and this becomes a buy because we've got multi-time frame momentum bearish, current time frame momentum bearish. This is the quant line right here, and that's also bearish, and this was the bias line or the money flow line. This is also bearish. So everything is bearish here. We went from blue to yellow. So this went from some buying to selling. Institutions are selling, and we know that it's got to be institutions when we've got all of these things and the stock is dropping down like this. So we bought it right here. We rode it for a couple days, and we took profits on it. We were out before today. We took it off right here for profit. But this kind of shows you what the compass system looks like and what you would see on your chart if you had the compass system. It's going to look exactly like mine. This little thin red line here is the 15 EMA of an EMA. It's a smooth and exponential moving average, and obviously it's red and sloping down, so we want to be short this stock. So that's the daily chart on Hershey. Now I use dailies and I use 5-minute charts. The daily chart needs to line up with my 5-minute chart. This was another one we did. This is Oracle. We were short Oracle as well. Very similar to what we see here. You see how we've got red and yellow across the board here coming out of another dynamic compression zone. It's coming down here. So this again, we shorted Oracle, and this was a really nice trade. I mean, I think we paid trying to think, $4.50, $5.50, yeah, $5.50 for the option, and we get out for $7. So $1.50, which is a really nice profit on a fairly quick move on this. We just held it just one day, one overnight. So that's Oracle. Again, you can see, easy to see it's bearish. And I mean, this basically is yelling at you that the institutions are selling this stuff. If you had different colors, reds and blues and stuff, so you wouldn't touch it here. You see, you've got multi-time frame blue, current time frame red. We have no confirmation that the institutions are selling here. Now we have confirmation that they're selling. At Dollar Tree, this is another one. This is another daily chart that we took in Dollar Tree right here. It fell down out of dynamic compression, and look at your indicators here. Current time frame momentum, multi-time frame momentum, quants, everything red. The institutions are selling this off big time, and you got to be short. I mean, you just go short on this. We wrote it down for a couple of days, and we took a nice profit in. Okay, this is D-Dog. This is one more. Again, these are daily charts I'm showing you right here. I just kind of want to show you how these we could take overnight. We took Datadog right here, coming out of dynamic compression right here, and popped down. We took profits the next day. Everything's red or yellow. The institutions are selling. It's coming out of dynamic compression. Really easy to see. And remember, there's a lot of information being crunched here by the Compass system to show us these colored lines. And again, this is where I'm getting my trades from. When you get alerts, this is how I'm finding them. And I think it's important to be transparent and let you know where these trades are coming from. We're not throwing darts. We're looking for the very highest probability trade setups. All right, this was an ENPH. Now, this was a 5-minute chart. This is one we traded off for the intraday. And if you look at the colors, you can see this is like 10:30 in the morning. Everything is red. We've got the institutions selling, but we don't want to just jump in on this compression. Now, this symbol right here that the Compass system puts up is called a pop signal, or a pop out of the box signal. This tells us that the compression is breaking. It's breaking to the downside, and we're below the 15 EMA. This pink line, by the way, is the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, very important support resistance level. As we break down below that, we get this pop out of the box signal, tells us to take it short. We take it short, and we ride this thing down. And you notice everything is staying red. No matter what the stock price is doing, the institutions are still selling this. So they've got a lot of selling pressure on this. And once we go back over to blue, we just take profits out of this thing as it comes back up toward the 15 EMA. But I think we exited right down in here as we got the momentum waning. But you can see how easy it is to see that institutions are selling this off. I mean, this is really quite an important thing, because if you want to trade with the institutions, you need something like this to be able to identify that. The Verizon, another 5-minute chart. This was a really nice trade. Now, Verizon doesn't move a lot. This stock does not move an awful lot. It's pennies, moves a few cents. But you notice we get a pop out of the box signal right here as it came down below the VWAP. That's a nice resistance level that it's coming off of. Obviously, the institutions are selling. Look at all the red here across the board. And as you get these pop out of the box signals, they continue down. We took this down, and this was they're fairly inexpensive options. We took this for 45 cents. We took a put on this for 45 cents, an in the money put, because it doesn't move a lot. And we get out right down here for 65 cents. That's almost a 50% gain on your option on this particular trade. People say, well, how can you make any money on a 45-cent option? Well, you can make a lot of money on a 45-cent option if it goes to 65 cents, because that's $20 a contract. And with 45 cents, if you buy 10 contracts, it's $450, and you just get out for $650 about an hour later. So that's how effective these are. And again, you can see there's no reason to be panicking in this trade, even if you get a pop-up. As long as everything stays red, the institutions are selling it. You know that and eventually it's going to turn back down. All right, here's a trade on the SPY. This is a SPY super system. This is what I talked about. I'm going to show you 2 slides here. This is the Compass system, and this is how we find the trades for a SPY super system. Okay, we've got a pop out of the box signal right here, coming off the 15 EMA, and everything's red. So we know institutionally, the institutions are selling the SPY right now. They're definitely selling the SPY. All right, and we took this and we took it down, and we get out right down here. As just before it reversed back and went to blue, you exit the trade. But here's another thing I'm going to show you. I want to show you that's the institution selling. The SPY super system, to get the actual perfect setup, you also need the Dominator system to be also bearish. All right, so here is the Dominator system, and this one runs on Ninja. This runs on Ninja 8. This is the Dominator system on the same SPY at the same time. Right here, if we go back and look at the SPY, well, I'm just cut off there, but this was exactly the same time. Now you can see a couple of things that are important on the Dominator system. We're looking at market internals. What's the background color? Background color is dark pink. That means that you've got a multi-time frame trend bearish in the SPY. And what you're looking for here is you're looking for a sell signal. Because these are all the indexes down here, and they're all pretty much red. This is a sell signal. This tells us there's way more stocks going down on down volume and down ticks than going up on up volume and up ticks. And this is where we entered it. So when we knew we had a good setup here on the SPY, off of the compass system, we knew the institutions were selling, we knew the market internals were in our favor, you take the trade. And that's what the SPY super system is. And when those occur, you can trade them, and usually you have to trade the SPY fairly quickly. This was good for, I think, 5 or 6 candles. Yeah, more than that, probably about 10 candles. But that's the kind of a move that you get out of the SPY super system. But that's why we call it that. The compass system is telling us the institutions are selling the SPY. The Dominator system tells us that the market internals are also being sold off. That gives you the perfect setup for it. All right, so that's what the SPY super system is, and a lot of people in my trading room trade those each day on the SPY or the Q, just looking for those particular setups. This is another just a chart to show you the compass system. This was a Netflix trade that we took. Again, 5-minute chart. You notice that right here where we got this candle, where I've got this white arrow. You see the stock is compressing, and you see the pop out of the box signal, and it's breaking below the VWAP. But here's the key thing to see. You see this blue? That's buying. See this yellow? It's gone to selling. The institutions have turned to selling. They're already selling on the multi-time frame and on the quants. Turns to yellow, and you get a pop out of the box signal. That's where you get in. That's the perfect entry, because you get selling across the board, and you jump in right here as it breaks below the VWAP, which is a resistance level, and you write it down and just keep writing it down, and we get out right down here, 20% profit on that Netflix trade. And it's you can see how well you can see that the institutions were selling this. This was a trade that some traders took right off of they took this trade right off of the Dominator system. They didn't even look at the compass system, but they used the Dominator system to tell them that market internals were working. Now I use them both. I lean on the compass system more than anything, but this was a nice SPY trade off of the market internals, because you can see that we've got sell signals. We've got a dark pink background, meaning that the multi-time frame trend is bearish, and we've got a nice break right here. You can see it breaking down, and you just ride this thing down. And then it moves around, it pops up, but we got 3 points in that, $250 a contract on that trade. So 5 contracts, you get yourself $1,250. It's a nice quick trade, and that's what the Dominator system does for you when you're looking for those kind of trades. This was a Tesla trade, and I just I'm trying to make sure you can understand how I'm finding these trades. Before I get into a lot more detail, I just kind of want to show you the setup, so that you can all see that if you're a fairly new trader and you want to know whether a stock is bullish or bearish, with a compass system, it's really easy to tell. I mean, you're looking at colors. These colors are being created by extremely complex calculations, but this was a perfect spot to take this Tesla trade right here. You see how it's kind of moving sideways, and you're getting multiple colors changing. You get blue, yellow, red, blue, yellow. But right here we get a yellow breakdown. We've already got yellow in the multi-time frame. The current time frame momentum is also bearish. The money flow is bearish. The quants are bearish, and you get a pop out of the box signal telling you that we're coming out of compression. That's where you take the trade, and you just ride this thing down. And you get a couple of green here, but it never gets above the 15, and everything stays yellow or red the whole way. We just wrote it down right to the end of the day. This was at almost 4 o'clock, and we took a 30% profit in that simple little trade like that. When the compass system is telling us the institutions are selling, you want to be selling. When back here, they were just going back and forth, back and forth. You don't want to be involved in the trade when you've got green down here, yellow up here, and then goes blue, yellow. You're getting all this chop. That's telling us that retail traders are moving this. The institutions are not. And this was a Tesla trade that we took. And this was an overnight trade we took. This was a little riskier, because we we had a sell-off in Tesla at the end of the day. We had a pop out of the box signal, so we took it short overnight. This is the 5-minute chart, but you still notice everything was lined up red or yellow. So we took a bearish trade, and we took this, and fortunately for us, it gapped down. It fell from 120 at the close to 112, and when we get out, it dropped down to about 119. It closed down here at 112. We took profits. Those puts exploded. You can imagine how those puts exploded when a stock drops $8. I mean, like $6.50 profit per contract on those. That was a nice one. That was a very nice one. Now this is one of the things I use in the room is I use Heiken Ashi candles, and Heiken Ashi candles are specifically done using 2 candles. And what a Heiken Ashi candle tells you is you can have a confirmation of a reversal. When you get a candle that has a wick and a tail on it, like that, wick and a tail, a wick and a tail, and then you go to a flat bottom candle, that's a Heiken Ashi bullish reversal. You go with wick and a tail to flat bottom. And you notice that each one of these candlesticks on the way up have flat bottoms, because it takes two regular candlesticks to create a Heiken Ashi candle. So when you're getting flat bottoms, it's going to stay flat bottom as long as it's still bullish. And that's a beautiful way to ride the trend. And that's how you find a confirmation of a trend. Because if you're looking for a confirmation, for example, off of support, and it's going to bounce, then if you wait for a Heiken Ashi candle, that's 2 candles making that up. You basically, by definition, have confirmation of the reversal. And Jim just wrote it up. This was another really nice trade. And we took profits here when we started getting wicks and tails again. A nice trade on Tesla. This is a case I want to show you. This is QSR, and I want to show you how I go into a little bit of detail to find some of these trades. This is a QSR on the daily chart. You see it's bullish. Obviously, here's the candlestick popping up. So it's bullish. So I know I want to trade this long. All right, so I look at it long, and I'm coming in on a 5-minute chart the day I want to trade it. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for an entry point. And here's the 15 EMA. You hear this just kind of gets green. It's moving up. The colors are changing back and forth. Then I go to solid green here across the board, and then I get a pop out of the box signal. This is where you take it. So pop out of the box signal, off of the 15 EMA with everything green. It's long trade. I take it and I just ride it up right up to here. Again, 6 or 7 candles. Now, so that's the daily. This is the 5-minute. This is QSR on the Dominator. If I want to get even a higher probability setup, what I do is I look at the Dominator to make sure that I've got a dark green background telling me that I've got a multi-time frame trend to the upside, bullish, and I'm looking for buy signals. Now, in this particular case, the fact that I have a multi-time frame bullish setup on it, and I've got compression right here, I can buy it right here, which is what I did on the Compass system, because the Compass system was telling me to go for it, because it was the institutions were in there. But if you're more conservative, you can wait until you get a buy signal on the Dominator system. So that's how we find the trade on QSR. There's a daily, the 5-minute, and the Dominator, and that's how I found that one. And again, this is another Dominator system trade, and again, you can see the buy signals in the dark green background. It goes from light green to dark green, and you get buy signals across the board. Anywhere in here, you can take this, and you can just stay in it. There'd be no reason to even get out until the end of the day. And same thing on the SPY. I just kind of want you to see what the Dominator looks like. You notice how we had a black background, which is neutral, and we went to a light pink background, which is bearish. This is where you would take the trade here and write it down, or you could take it right here as it compresses and breaks down. Anywhere along there was a nice trade. And again, it was a SPY trade, a really nice SPY trade. And trade to the long side, and I'm going to stop with these for those. All right, so that's the. What I want to do is I want to, before I end, I want to just kind of cover the results that we've had. And there's this trade, this one here, this is actually a year old. This is from 10/1 to 12/28 last year. But the reason I did this was because the Dominator system just came out last October. So this was the first 3-month period that I was able to use the Compass system and the Dominator system in combination. So what happened is between October 1st and December 28th, all the trades that I took that were Compass trades, they didn't have the Dominator lined up with them, but they had neutral Dominator. But these are Compass trades without the Dominator trades confirming it, and I had 129 wins and 12 losses. So 90.2% win, which is pretty common, pretty normal. I mean, it's sometimes I'll drop down below that, but that's pretty normal. Now, when I did the same trades during the same time period, when I actually had the Compass system and the Dominator system both lined up, so I had bullish Compass system, institutions buying, bullish Dominator system, I had 113 wins and 2 losses. And you can see that the number of trades is fewer, of course, because this situation of those both aligning doesn't happen all the time. But that's a 97% win rate, astronomically high, and probably very difficult to try to repeat. But this was when I was doing the test on it, and that's what the results was with those particular trades. And I've got these slides that have been here for a while, just kind of to show what we've done in the room in the alert service for certain periods of time. This was March, April, May, and June. You can see the win rate here was between 86 and 87.5%. That's pretty normal. And we had 37 wins and 6 losses in March, 35 wins, 5 losses in April, 41 wins, 6 losses in May, and 37 and 6 in June. You can see the total number of trades, it hangs around in the low 40s usually. And the profit, these are the profit we made in each one of those months. Again, they're going to vary because it just depends on the market. I mean, how's the market? How long is it? Are we able to stay in the trade? How much pullback do we get? How many losses do we take? And how much were they? But these were the profits for those particular months, March, April, May, and June. And this I'm just kind of proud of because this was some trades we took in May and early June and April, I'm sorry, and through May. And we did 19 wins in a row, followed by 10 wins in a row in May. We ended June with April with 19 wins, and then we had 10 wins in a row in May. And again, $10,000 in each one of those trades produced about $11,000 in profit. Okay, so that was my pretty much the best. I actually had a 32 win run, but that was a pretty nice run right there. All right, so again, I just kind of want to cover, these are the strategies that we're going to be using. You're going to be getting information when the trades come through. They're going to be straight calls and puts. They're going to be debit spreads using weekly option expirations. There'll be time spreads when the earnings season occurs. There's really not much going on right now. October earnings season. When we have a bullish to a neutral to bullish market, we'll start doing some weekly ATMs. We do not have that right now. I also do put credit spreads when the market is bullish. Sometimes I'll do call credit spreads when it's bearish, but mostly bullish put credit spreads. And then we have the SPY super system. Now you won't get alerted on these. We do these in the room, but you're not going to get alerted because they're too quick. Some of these might only last for 2 or 3 5-minute candles. But that's where the trades from the room and the options service will come from. And again, I'm just going to run through these. This was May trades here, and I'm not going to go through each one of these. But you can see that I just want people to see that the percentage gains are fairly consistent from month to month, and we do have losses. It's important to understand we have losses. Everybody has losses. We have losses, but you can see the number of wins kind of swamps the losses pretty high. And they're fairly consistent. They are fairly consistent. This was a weekly ATM, by the way, that we did on Microsoft. Okay, May. This was June right here. Same type of thing that you can see. And let's see. This was July trades. I was on vacation for the first week in July. Went to Iceland, and my wife and I went to Iceland for 8 days. This was so I didn't start trading till the middle of the month. So we had a pretty nice win. 20 wins, 4 losses. A pretty nice week. Multiple weeks. August was probably the toughest month that I've had in 3 years. We had some losses, but we did okay. I mean, we had a win rate of 70-some-odd%, but this was a very, very tough month in August. And then September, of course, 22 and 1 so far. This is kind of an outlier. But again, you're going to have situations where the market was extremely difficult. We get in a couple of these losses were because a news event came out and knocked the trade down. We didn't have any control over that, but that's going to happen from time to time. And these, again, I go over the September trades again that we talked about. We're actually at 22 and 1 right now, and pretty nice trades. And so this is typically what you can expect. Obviously, you're going to have wins, you're going to have losses. Can't guarantee anybody's going to have how much they're going to make or how many wins in a row they're going to have. All I can show you is where they're coming from and how I get them. And when you get them, you're going to know where they're coming from. If you look at the chart, you're going to be able to see why we took those trades. And these are, again, these are some trades. These are actual alerted trades that we took recently. Crowd, we get in for $6.90, out for $8. That was an overnight trade. STX, again, this was a big one. We get in for $3.70, and we were in this for 2 days, and we get out for $7.70. That was a 108% profit, really massive. So again, I'm not going to go over each one of these, but you can see pretty much that and there'll be losses in the alerts as well. But these were nice profitable trades, 30, 40, 50% most of the time. Again, these are even some recent ones. Dash we looked at. Again, 31% profit. This was in the 64, out for 84 overnight. In for 66, out for 86 overnight. And one reason I mention overnight is a lot of folks are they're on PDT. They're on a situation where they can't make more than 3 trades, intraday trades in a week in 5 days. They're pattern day traders. So if they're under pattern day traders, a lot of the trades we take are going to be overnight or multiple days. The time spreads are all multiple days. And any credit spreads we do are all multiple days. So that takes the concern about being in the trade and having too many intraday trades in a short period of time. So anyway, these are the profits on these trades. Again, in for 35, out for 45. Doesn't sound like much. 28% profit, $2,000 invested, get you 570 bucks. This was a nice one. This was TSM, in for 580, out for 870 the next morning. I mean, that's a pretty big move right there, 50% profit. And again, about $810% and $10 profit on that. So those are the alerted trades, and you saw how they would look. So we're going to talk about just the offer here, because we've taken up a lot of your time. This is the Compass SMS text alert service, and again, that's what it looks like. It's going to say David Wise alert service. With the date, it's going to tell you the stock, the expiration date, the option, the premium, the option you're taking, the particular strike, and this was a sell order right here on this that we had in here. So that's what it's going to look like for you. All right, so this is the option, basically just the options trade results, which we see we had that a losing month here, but pretty good months. Most of the time they're somewhere between $5,000 and $9,000. But the Compass Options text alert service is if you use this $500 coupon, this $5 use coupon code 550, it's $9.96 annually. So you get 12 months of all the alerts. If you want to do it quarterly, make sure you use this coupon code SAVE100. That's going to give you a quarterly alert service for $296, $100, less than $100 a month. And you can see what the results have been on these things. So that's again, that's the alert service. Now we're going to talk about the SPY super system here. Now this is the software we just talked about, the Compass system, the Dominator system. So if you want to get the SPY super system, what we call the SPY super system, and this is a bundle, and normally it's $29.98, but for a coupon code of save 1,000, you'll get all of this for $19.98. This is really an amazing package. It's got the Compass trading system, the one we talked about that we saw on Thinkorswim. That you get that. You get the Market Internals Dominator trading system that goes on Ninja. That is also included in this thing. You get the text alert service for 3 months, and you get the trading room for 3 months. And the trading room typically is about $149 a month individual if you take it 1 month at a time. So that is the bundle. Now the bundle also includes the scanners. We have scanners in Thinkorswim that I have that will look for these high probability trade setups. That would you get as well. We have a private Discord trading chat room where we have 2 other professional traders in there, Dr. No, Savvy Trader, that post charts during the day. They answer questions. They put out information on which sectors are the strongest. Lots and lots of information. There's also this Wise Way to Trade Options Master Class modules, pretty big mouthful. Basically, I have about 25 videos on the methodology that we use to find the highest probability trade setups, the strategies for doing time spreads, for doing weekly ATMs, for doing debit spreads. There's how to find how to use Heiken Ashi candles. There's just a lot of them. There's one called Top Gun, which basically goes into, once you find some high probability trade setups using Compass system, how to find the best of the best by using additional technical analysis. And this, of course, will include all installation and customer service. The techs at Brightline are great, and they will just take over your machine and put the software right on there for you. It'll look exactly like mine did. And again, that's 1998. If you use that Save 1000 code, it's a really, really nice package. I tell you, when I didn't have the Compass system, when I first learned about this a little over 2 years ago, it made a big difference in my trading. And I was a professional trader at the time. I had been trading for like 13 years at the time when I found this, and it made so much difference because I was able to. The biggest thing I was able to find was I was able to stay out of trades that the institutions weren't in. That if I didn't have this, I wouldn't have known that, and I got in there and get chopped around. These are some reviews from people that are in the room talking about how great the room is. It's a little embarrassing to go over some of these. They're really good. And you know, they're really happy with the results, and I'm leave that at that. And again, here's the Compass option text alerts. Use Save 500 and you can get the annual for $9.96, and Save 100 you get the quarterly for $2.96. And again, this Fire Super system today, this gives you all of this Compass system, the Dominator system, the alert service, and the trading room, plus all these other add-ons over here, which are pretty nice. And this is a really, really good package. And again, if you have any questions or you want to learn more about it, put your name or number in the chat box, and Rory will give you a call and he'll answer any of those questions. I will mention also that if you want just the Compass system, you just call Rory. They can take care of that for you. Or if you just want the Dominator system. And again, obviously, if you just want the alert service, you'd use this. And if you just want the trading room is going to come with the alert, so you can ask Rory about that. But just put your name and number in the chat box, and Rory will call you, and he'll answer any questions that you might have. So that kind of takes care of it for me. I'm going to look and see if we've got any questions, folks who might want to answer some questions. Let me look here. Let me look. Will this be recorded? Yes, it is recorded. A link will be sent. Most of the time stops. I don't know what you mean by time stops. Yeah, the algos, we didn't get into a lot of detail on the algos. Algos know what retail traders, if they're setting stops and everything. I never use hard stops. I only use profit targets. I don't use hard stops. Whoops, let me get down here. Oh yeah, my question chart. I'm probably looking at somebody else's webinars. All right, here we go. A little after 3:45, I think. All right. What's my signal to exit? Well, you know, most of the time, Dan, I use I'm looking at the price movement, and I'm looking at where the stock is and what the market's doing. To exit's not is not that simple to define, because I'm really looking at the SPY and see what the SPY is doing. If it's still going in the direction that my trade's going in, I'll probably stick with it. If it starts to lose momentum and I'm up 20-30% on the trade during the day, I'll take profits. I'll also look at the Compass system and see if the institutions are still in the trade or if they're not in the trade. If they're still in the trade, then I'm more inclined to stay with the trade a little bit longer. And then, you know, I use that, I'll put an alert out, and you know I'll put a sell price on it, and sometimes it may hit that day, sometimes it may take another day or two. Is the system adaptable to trading futures contracts? Yeah, absolutely. The Compass system works great on futures. All you have to do is put the code in the Thinkorswim platform, ES, NQ, YM, whatever, and you're gonna know whether the institutions are in those in that particular trade at the time. And we even have a futures room that trades off a Ninja, which uses basically the compass system. It's called Money Flow Tracker over there though, but it uses the same indicators to trade futures. And I mean, if you can trade futures off of Thinkorswim as well, and the information is perfect for that. You can use it for pretty much anything. How were trades in July and August? July and August were very difficult. Now we had, you know, August was very difficult. July was okay. I was only here half a month, but July was over. But if you've been trading, you know how difficult July and August were. It was a very tough summer. Now we had some profits. We had nice profits, and our win rate was decent. August was a little bit weak, but typically you're going to see somewhere in the neighborhood of 85 to 90% wins, and that's pretty consistent. Listen, you're not gonna win every single time. You can't. Let's see. Do I trade 0-day expiration every Friday for stocks? You know, I only have certain times I use 0-day expiration. If I'm trading the SPY, for example, I'll normally take the puts or the calls for the following day, so I don't get time decayed to death. But the only time I use Friday expirations for options is if I'm doing what's called a lottery. Typically, I want to be out in time. I want to be out so that I have you know, a couple of weeks of time on the options, so it's not going to get decayed to death. So I'll go out in time on that. So I don't do a lot of every day. I do it on SPY, like I said, or the Qs, because I'm only going to be in it for a very short period of time. But other than that, I don't do it. How many trade alerts per week? Neil, you know, it's going to vary because I don't know how many good trades I'm going to have. I think this week we had three. I think we've had 5 this week, 5 or 6 this week so far. That's about normal. Some days you're not going to get any. Some days you're going to get 2 or 3. You're usually not going to have more than 4 or 5 trades at the most on at the same time. You know, that becomes a management issue if you're trying to manage that many. So, you know, I like to. We had Hershey's this week. We had quite a few. Actually, we had quite a few trades that we made money on this week. Let me just look here. I can tell you in a second. Yeah, we closed. We had McDonald's, we had Oracle, Hershey, Pfizer, all 3 of those for wins first part of the week, and then a McDonald's, and we got a couple trades on right now. But yeah, you know, listen, 5 a week or so, could be 6, could be 8, could be 3. It just depends. Do I give alert for futures, ES and Qs? I don't know what you mean for alerts. I look at those during the day. You know, I have, in fact, I have the ES up before even market opens in the morning. I follow the ES and the NQ, and I've trade futures sometimes. But you know, if you're looking at the SPY during the day, I keep the SPY trade up, the SPY chart up, so I can see what the market's doing. I'm very interested in what the market's doing, because that you know, listen, the market drives 75% of the stocks. You really have to know what the market's doing, and base your trades on that. One of the criteria I use for high probability trade setups is we want to trade if the market has a direction, we want to trade in that direction. If it's bearish, we want to look to take puts. If it's bullish, we want to look to take calls, as long as the stock we're looking at lines up with a good daily chart and a good 5-minute chart. Do I have a trade mirroring offering? I mean, I said put the trades out, but you have to mirror them yourself. I don't have anything that's going to actually enter the trades for you. In the room, do I focus on SPY super system trades? If they're there, I point them out and I'll take them. But you know, the lineup has to be really good, because you need to have the compass system telling you the institutions are in the trade. Then you have to have the Dominator system telling you that the market internals are in the trade, and then you have to have it come to a good support or resistance level. If you're going long, you want the SPY bouncing off support somewhere, off of VWAP or off of a pivot point, or coming out of a compression zone. So that all 3 of those things have to be aligned to get the SPY super system, you know, to take those trades. But yeah, I look for almost every data system. I've got SPY up so I can see what they're doing. do you give cheap calendar option trade? The time spreads are calendar trades. The time spreads, we call them time spreads. And basically but I do that over earnings. Basically, I'm trying to harvest the volatility crush when the earnings comes out. So what we're doing is we're selling this week's call and buying next week's call. And typically it doesn't cost much. I mean, they're inexpensive. Usually they run, it depends on if it's an expensive stock, it might be $1.50, but a lot of times they run from 25 to 50 cents or 25 to 50 bucks basically per contract for the time spread. And you try to take 20 to 25, 30% off a trade like that. Can I show a current chart for SPY 15 minutes and 30 minutes? Yep, hold on just a second. How many trades do I have in the room each day? Man, that again, it depends. It's so dependent on the market. Some days one or two, some days 5. It just depends. It really does depend. I mean, it's hard to try to quantify how many we take. I mean, you know, it's probably going to be in the room, depending on what the SPY is doing, in the neighborhood of 3 to 5 trades in a day. Because I don't alert on everything. I can't alert on SPY super systems. I can't alert on trades that I think I'm going to be in and out in 10 or 20 minutes, because it's not fair to the alert service. But people in the room can take advantage of that. But for somebody who's an alert, they're sitting with a phone and they get the alert. You know, they don't want to get the alert, go in and try to find the option to put in, and then get an alert says we're out already. I mean, that's not fair to them, and I wouldn't count that as a fair way to do alerts. Let me drop this down for a second and go over to all right, so here's the current, this is the compass system current. This is live. It's SPY. Now I stop the SPY at the end of the day. So I don't, if I was looking for after hours action right here, what I would do is I would typically use like the ES. And the ES is telling me, this is a 5-minute chart in the ES. You can see that it's relatively bullish right here. And you can see it's coming up on a dynamic contraction, but notice I've got multi-time frame yellow, current time frame green. This tells me I'm not going to touch this right now for a long. I'm just not going to touch it because I don't have any coordination between these two time frames. So that's why I don't do that. And this is the 5-minute. Let's see if you guys might see a 30-minute. I'm not sure what this is going to look like right now. 5 minutes. This is a 15-minute. There's a 15-minute. And again, this is after hours, so it's not going to get all the information that it needs. Typically, I only use the 5-minute in the daily. If I go back to the daily on the ES, there's the daily on the ES. You can see we had a little green candle today. ES has been coming down. It's been fairly bearish. The daily chart on it still is bearish. We had a little pop in the market today, a little doji yesterday. Not much direction in the system. And yeah, anybody, the people in the trade room, they do get the alerts. Yes, if you're in the trade room, you get the alerts. All right, anybody else got any other questions? Otherwise, I'll wrap it up and say how much I appreciated everybody taking time. I know it's been a long day. If you've been listening to the presenters today, a lot of good information there. And again, I feel really strongly about the fact that you need to be able to see what the institutions are doing if you want to be able to trade successfully against other retail traders out there in the market. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. Give Rory a call. I'll put your name and number in here in the chat box here, and he will get back to you and answer any questions you got in the chat box right now. There's links to there's offers out there for the compass system. For the super system and for the alert service. And again, you can ask Rory if you have any questions on buying into any of the modules individually. So again, I appreciate everybody being here. Thanks so much for your time. And we'll wrap it up for the day. And we'll see, hope to see some folks in the room next couple of days. One more question. Is the Compass system similar to the money flow tracker system? It is, Nick. The money flow tracker system runs on Ninja. Compass runs on Thinkorswim. And I'm used to using Thinkorswim, and that's why I use it. But yeah, it runs on NinjaTrader as well. It's called the money flow tracker over there. It's the same information. It's just being presented a little differently from what how the Compass system looks. All right, I think that's it. So I guess everybody wants to get wrap it up for the day. It's been a long day, long trading day. We got Friday coming up tomorrow. I know Jay Powell was speaking tonight at 4 o'clock. I don't know how the market did when he spoke. I go back and look at the SPY at 4 o'clock. Didn't look like it did much of anything. So, all right, again, everybody, have a great evening. And you have the money flow on Ninja, but you were thinking about the Compass system. Would it be worthwhile using both? I mean, if you're using, the Compass system is running on Thinkorswim, the information is going to be pretty much the same. It's going to have to be pretty much the same as what you're looking for a Ninja and the money flow tracker. Just kind of depends on what you used to like to use, because the Compass system is. I mean, I swear by the Compass system, but again, I know a lot of people use the money flow tracker on Ninja. I prefer to use Thinkorswim personally, but it's just my own preference. All right, everybody.